In addition to the fact that it is important that you as a coach create conditions for your players to develop, it is also important that you create opportunities for learning. First and foremost, it is important that you give players the opportunity to discover their own solutions in trainings and matches, which enhances their learning. Football is a complex sport, and there is rarely a right or wrong solution. Therefore, as a leader, you should focus on training creative players. So players who are allowed to try different solutions and who can learn over time what doesn't work and what works. To give players the opportunity to solve a task in different ways, you need to structure and organize your training and exercises accordingly, so that both in terms of purpose and activities or exercises, you allow players to solve problems and come up with their own creative solutions. You can also, during training and before as well as after a match, talk about different solutions, listen to your players and ask questions to understand their way of reasoning, and by doing so, contributing to their development of decision-making. Secondly, as a coach, you need to be committed to your players. And thereby, you also create commitment among the players themselves. So before a training, you plan the session with a clear purpose, and during the training, you are an active leader, providing your players with meaningful activities and your presence and engagement. You are curious about how each individual player solves different solutions, and you see and pay attention to each of them. Finally, as a coach, you can help your players discover different solutions during training and matches by encouraging them to act in accordance with the purpose of the training. If a purpose during a workout is not achieved, you can adjust the exercises, simplify or develop them, praise the parts that work well, and ask questions around those that don't work, and show or give advice to players on how they can do instead. An important part of the learning process, and a very empowering part of it, is to understand the actual learning process. So to make the learning process visible to your players, you have to highlight and emphasize the learning taking place, and not just assume that they will understand it based on their actual practical development on the football field. It is necessary to talk and reflect on the different ways in which exercises were done and problems were solved. So small, short reflections can be done both if you are close to your players during training and games on the field, or during short breaks on the sideline. So strive to use reflection in a natural way as a tool for making learning visible, by asking questions to make your players reflect on their own development. What did you do differently this time? Or why do you think this worked? What could you do differently to make it work? How do you think you should do to develop further? So continue to ask questions and enable your players to learn and understand their learning process.